if you just can't imagine what I mean by fourth dimension and space-time being a material, don't worry, I'm not really sure that I understand it much. Even using it practically, it's another dimension. So our comprehension is geared for 3 dimensions. You talk about the fourth dimension, all we can really do is talk about what it is and how to use it, and hope that we get a better comprehension of it as time goes. But back in the day, the argument was that space might be like an ether, a material. In 3-dimensional terms, space is a vacuum, generally devoid of anything. And in 4th-dimensional terms, it's a material, and it's a goop. So the fact that light bends when it has to go past planets because of the displacement of the space-time material, gravity is a displacement of the space-time material, and the one that I've probably been impacted by the most in recent months and years is the paradox between momentum and acceleration. So in space, if you're going 40 miles an hour and nothing touches you, you're not exposed to anything, you just keep going 40 miles an hour. But to accelerate takes energy, and once that acceleration happens and you're left alone, you're at that new speed, 100 miles an hour. But it takes more and more energy to accelerate matter in space-time. And there's an acceleration drag, but not a movement drag. In other words, momentum holds true. If you're going 95% of the speed of light, you just keep going 95% of the speed of light. Whatever makes it hard to get closer to the speed of light doesn't slow you down once you're moving. Really strange, but it does betray a principle of reality. The 4th dimension, space-time, is a material, and here's more on that. Next major point is that space-time is a medium. Okay, so look, everything Einstein did, he proved that there's no 3rd-dimensional ether, there's no water, there's no like substance you could put in a thermos and study in space. But he did show that light bends with space-time, that matter bends space-time and displaces it, and everything he basically showed us is that in some way, shape, or form, that space-time is a 4th-dimensional material, and we're going to call it 4th-dimensional goop. And basically now I'm going to recategorize how we look at things based on that, because on the string level, possibly the smallest level of reality, on the atomic level, the molecular level, cellular level, and space particle level, solarcule, galacticule, and galacticluster, there is a different goop density. Okay, there's a change, therefore, in C. Now, let's talk about that for a second. Basically, if we look at everything as a particle, instead of thinking that there's a subatomic level and then everything else after that is just outer space, we can actually start imagining that in our solar system, that you have what would be a certain amount of space-time material. So instead of thinking of just everything in the solar system as just matter traveling through outer space, think of it all as one big glob of matter that's holding a certain amount of space-time material and traveling together cohesively, same way that a particle is cohesive. Now, a space particle could be an asteroid, it could be a planet. On the cellular level, also you would have a certain amount of space-time that exists in that cohesive unit. In a molecule, same thing. In an atom, same thing. Down to the string level, you would have different space-time material, and because of the density of the space-time goop, your light or electromagnetism would travel different, and it would be a different speed on each level, so you'd have a change in C. Fundamental to understanding time travel. So even my closest friends were like, C is a constant. And everyone knows C is a constant. C is constant. Speed of light's a constant. Look, it's consistent. You got to know your C for your medium, where you are, okay? Once I realized I'm in a solarcule, not a solar system, I'm in a solarcule with its own trapped space-time material and density, it changed everything. Absolutely essential. For the record, Einstein was up against a tough crowd. He wasn't coming out with anything that was much conjecture. He had to lock it down so that it worked mathematically. I've long suspected he knew that C isn't a constant. I actually think him naming it constant is almost like a riddle or a message. When you know Einstein and you get into his writing and his personality, it's a clue. It's a riddle, and I don't think he'd be at all surprised at the effect on the ability to time travel, knowing that C is consistent for its medium and changes based on its location.